The twin suns of Zerathia hung low in the sky, casting long golden shadows across the floating cities and crystalline forests. From the surface of the planet, the landscape looked almost magical. Rivers of glowing liquid, trees that shimmered in shades of violet, and mountains that seemed to float above the ground as if gravity itself had taken a holiday. In this alien world, Lyra moved cautiously, her long, delicate fingers brushing against the luminous flora as if seeking answers from the living energy around her. Lyra was young by Zerathian standards, a scientist who had spent years studying the anomalies that occasionally rippled across the planet. She was intelligent, observant, and determined, but beneath her calm exterior lay a memory that had long been buried. A memory of a human, a strange, courageous human who had saved her when she was just a child on a distant planet. That memory had been locked away, like a fragment of light trapped in a crystal, but today, for reasons she could not explain, it was beginning to stir. She paused at the edge of a canyon, the air vibrating with a faint hum of energy. The crystalline walls around her glowed softly, reflecting the patterns of light that danced across the surface of the canyon. Lyra knelt, examining the unusual energy patterns, her eyes scanning the subtle shifts in color. Something about the readings was familiar, almost alive. She frowned. "They're stronger than before," she whispered to herself. Her voice echoed softly, carried by the energy currents of the canyon. But why now? Lyra adjusted her visor, which filtered the data from her instruments, and noticed movement on the horizon. A shadow approached from the sky, moving with a precision and grace that caught her attention immediately. Her heart quickened. Airships and drones were not unusual in Zerathia, but this was different, heavier, more grounded. And then she saw it, a human figure, walking steadily across the rocky terrain toward her. Captain Alex Mercer had landed on Zerathia with his team to investigate the same anomalies. Humans were rare visitors to this part of the galaxy, and their presence often sparked curiosity and/or suspicion among the native populations. Alex was tall, with broad shoulders and a calm determination in his eyes. His uniform bore the insignia of the Interstellar Exploration Corps, and he carried himself with the confidence of someone used to facing danger. Yet, as he approached, a strange sense of recognition stirred within him. Lyra froze, her mind struggling to process the sight. The human's face, she had seen it before. The recognition was instant, overwhelming, and she gasped quietly. Memories long buried surfaced, flashes of light, the roar of an accident, and a human hand reaching out to save her from certain death. Her chest tightened. It was him. Alex slowed as he noticed her reaction. There was something in her eyes, awe, fear, and a hint of recognition that mirrored his own feelings. He stopped a few meters away, raising his hand slightly to show he meant no harm. "Lyra," he said cautiously, testing the name that had been locked in his memory for years. "Do I know you?" Lyra's eyes widened and she stumbled backward, trying to find words. You saved me," she said finally, her voice trembling. "All those years ago, it was you." Alex's heart skipped. He remembered the mission vaguely. An expedition gone wrong, a child caught in a sudden explosion, and a human instinct that had driven him to act. Could it really be her, grown into a brilliant scientist on this strange world? He nodded slowly. "I think I did. I saved someone back then. That was a long time ago." Lyra stepped closer, her eyes searching his face for confirmation. "I remember everything now. The fall, the heat, your hand. You saved me from dying." Her voice was soft but firm, the words carrying the weight of a lifetime of gratitude and wonder. Alex swallowed. I'm amazed. I didn't expect to find you here. On Zerathia, of all places." He paused, looking around at the glowing canyon and the strange floating formations. "And yet, here you are." The tension between them eased slightly as they both acknowledged the impossible coincidence. Lyra shook her head in disbelief. "I never thought I would see you again. Not after all these years." Alex smiled faintly, a mixture of nostalgia and curiosity in his expression. "And I never thought I would find the person I saved living on an alien world, studying things I can't even begin to understand." There was a moment of silence as the two stared at each other, memories colliding with the present. Then Lyra's analytical mind took over, and she gestured toward the canyon. "We should focus on why you're here," she said. "The anomalies. They've grown stronger, more unstable. Something is happening in the crystal canyon that could affect the entire planet. Alex nodded, his explorer's instincts kicking in. Agreed, but I think it's also important that we work together. It seems fate has brought us here for a reason. Lyra considered this. Trusting a human, or anyone, was not easy, especially with her past experiences. But there was something in Alex's demeanor, something familiar and safe that made the decision easier than she expected. Very well, she said. But we must be careful. These anomalies are unpredictable. They can change the environment in ways that are dangerous to both of us. Together, they began to move deeper into the canyon. The glowing walls pulsed gently, almost as if acknowledging their presence. Strange patterns of light danced across the surfaces, casting shifting reflections that made the canyon feel alive. Lyra explained the recent readings, fluctuations in energy that seemed to come from beneath the surface, resonating with the planet's natural frequencies. Alex listened intently, occasionally asking questions. He adapted quickly, using his human experience to suggest ways to navigate the shifting terrain. Where Lyra hesitated, he offered solutions. Where Alex doubted, Lyra provided insight. Despite their different backgrounds, they worked seamlessly, a perfect combination of human ingenuity and alien understanding. As they ventured further, Lyra's memories continued to surface. She remembered the fear she had felt as a child, trapped and helpless, and the overwhelming relief when a human hand reached out to save her. Now standing beside Alex, she felt a strange sense of closure, as if the gap between past and present had narrowed. "Do you remember?" she asked softly, glancing at him. "The moment I fell? You caught me just before everything went wrong." Alex nodded, his gaze distant as he recalled the faint images of that day. "Yes, I remember the explosion, the fire, and reaching out. I didn't know if I would make it in time. And then, your hand found mine. You were brave even then." Lyra smiled, a mixture of nostalgia and gratitude. "I think it was your bravery that saved me." "You didn't hesitate, you just acted," Alex chuckled softly. "Maybe that's what humans do sometimes. But you survived. You turned into someone extraordinary. That is your own courage." They continued walking in silence for a while, each lost in thought. The canyon stretched endlessly before them, shimmering and alive. Yet despite the vastness and the unknown dangers, neither felt fear. The presence of the other brought a strange comfort, a reminder that even across worlds and years, bonds formed through selfless acts could endure. Finally, they reached a plateau overlooking a vast section of the canyon. Crystals rose like towers, glowing with energy that seemed to pulse in rhythm with the planet itself. Lyra extended her hand toward the largest formation. "This is where the anomalies are strongest," she explained. "We need to investigate further carefully. Whatever is causing these energy surges, it's ancient, possibly older than any recorded civilization on Zerathia." Alex knelt beside her, examining the crystals. "Then we have work to do," he said. Together, Lyra looked at him, truly looked, and for the first time in years, she felt that the human who had saved her as a child was not just a memory, but a living presence, a partner, a friend, perhaps even more. The canyon stretched before them, glowing and unpredictable, but they were ready to face it side by side, and so, the reunion of past and present set the stage for a journey that neither Lyra nor Alex could have imagined. The mysteries of the Crystal Canyon awaited, and together, they would confront not only the challenges of the planet, but also the echoes of a bond forged long ago, a bond that time could not erase. The Crystal Canyon stretched endlessly beneath the twin suns of Zerathia, each towering formation pulsating with a soft, ethereal glow. Lyra and Alex stepped carefully over the uneven terrain, their shadows stretching across the glimmering crystals as if dancing with the light itself. The air was alive with subtle vibrations, resonating from deep within the canyon, and Lyra's instincts told her they were close to uncovering something extraordinary. "This energy, it's different from anything I've ever measured," Lyra said, adjusting her visor to capture the shifting frequencies. "It reacts to movement and thought, almost conscious." Alex knelt beside a small crystal, running his fingers over the smooth surface. The glow intensified slightly beneath his touch, responding to his presence. "It's like it's alive," he murmured. "Or maybe it's waiting for something. Someone." Lyra's pulse quickened. "That's what I've been sensing. There's intelligence in the patterns. Not sentient in the way we think of it, but aware. A memory encoded in the crystal structure. As they moved deeper into the canyon, the formations became more intricate, crystals intertwined with vines that glowed faintly in shades of blue and violet. The ground beneath them hummed softly, and every step seemed to echo a message that neither could fully understand. Alex glanced at Lyra. "Do you think this could be from an extinct civilization? Something that lived here long before your kind or mine?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, and I think the energy surges we've been tracking are residual, leftover traces of their technology, or perhaps a warning system. Either way, it's powerful, and it's reactive." They reached a vast chamber, its walls covered in jagged interlocking crystals that formed natural corridors. At the center lay a large, dome-like formation, its core glowing brighter than the rest. Lyra approached cautiously, her hand hovering above the surface. "This must be the source," she said. "The device or structure responsible for the anomalies." Alex followed, scanning the area. "It's stable for now, but if we're wrong, even the smallest mistake could trigger an energy surge strong enough to, well, we don't want to find out." Lyra smiled faintly at his understatement. "Agreed." Together, they circled the dome, observing patterns etched into the crystals. As they examined them, Lyra's memories began to resurface. The faint recollection of her childhood accident merged with the current scene, and she realized something important. The human who had saved her years ago, Alex, was the first to understand her fear, the first to show her that courage could overcome even the most impossible odds. "I remember now," she said softly, almost to herself. "The day I fell, the explosion, your hand reaching for me. I thought I'd never see a human again, let alone someone like you." Alex's gaze softened. "And now we're here decades later working together. It's incredible." Lyra turned her attention back to the crystal dome. "Incredible, yes, but also urgent. The readings are fluctuating more than before. If the energy destabilizes, it could affect the entire canyon, maybe even the floating cities above." Alex's brow furrowed. "Then we need to figure out what this device wants, how to stabilize it before it causes harm." They began analyzing the patterns, their combined skills complementing each other perfectly. Lyra's deep understanding of alien energy and ecosystems allowed her to interpret subtle signals, while Alex's human ingenuity helped him devise ways to manipulate and test the structure safely. Together they worked in a rhythm, moving through the canyon with purpose. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. The canyon seemed to react to their presence, guiding them toward areas where the energy was most concentrated. Lyra discovered a series of markings embedded deep in the crystal, symbols that shimmered faintly when touched. "These markings, they're messages," she said, tracing the patterns with her fingers. "Not language as we know it, but a record. Instructions, warnings, maybe even a history of the civilization that created this place." Alex leaned closer. "Can you translate them?" Lyra shook her head. "Not fully, but I can sense their meaning. Courage, cooperation, and selflessness, qualities valued by the ones who left this. It's almost a guide, a test for anyone who comes here." Alex glanced at her, impressed. "A test that explains why the canyon seems so reactive. It's not just energy. It's evaluating intent." Lyra nodded. "Exactly. And I think it recognized something in us already. Our willingness to work together, to trust one another. That's why it hasn't reacted aggressively." As they moved closer to the core of the dome, the energy reading spiked. The crystals vibrated beneath their feet, sending ripples of light across the chamber. Lyra's visor registered patterns that shifted and reorganized themselves, almost as if the device was observing their every move. "Alex, look," Lyra said, pointing to a particular sequence in the crystal wall. "This pattern, it's a memory. My memory, and yours." Alex stared, stunned. The faint images of a human saving a young alien child flashed across the crystalline surface. "Is that possible?" he whispered. "The device can see memories?" Lyra nodded slowly. "I think so. It's recording emotional resonance, acts of courage, moments of empathy. That moment you saved me, it's encoded here." She turned to him, eyes wide. "That's why I recognized you. And why it let us pass safely into the canyon." Alex felt a swell of emotion he hadn't experienced in years. "I never imagined that a single act could have such a lasting impact." He paused, searching her face. "And yet here you are, grown brilliant and standing before me. I'm honored." Lyra smiled, the memory finally giving her a sense of closure. "We've both changed since that day, But perhaps that act of courage, now yours and mine together, has shaped this moment, guiding us to this place. The glow of the dome intensified, casting shimmering reflections across their faces. Lyra reached out to touch the core, and the energy pulsed in response, spreading a wave of warmth that ran through the canyon. Alex placed his hand over hers, and together they felt the device acknowledge their presence. "It wants something from us," Lyra said, her voice steady but filled with awe. "Not control or power. Understanding, cooperation, courage, these are the keys to stabilizing it." Alex nodded. "Then we need to figure out how to give it that, and fast. If it reacts unpredictably, we could be in serious danger." For the next several hours, they worked side by side, experimenting with the energy patterns and testing hypotheses. Lyra adjusted the crystal's alignment while Alex suggested sequences to harmonize the device's energy with the natural frequencies of the canyon. The process required both precision and intuition, human logic and alien perception working in perfect sync. During one critical moment, the dome shuddered violently, sending vibrations through the floor. Lyra and Alex braced themselves, holding hands to steady one another. The energy swirled around them, colors shifting wildly, but instead of aggression, the device responded to their combined presence. The vibrations eased and the glow stabilized, brighter and calmer than before. "We did it," Lyra said softly, awe in her voice. It responded. "To us." Alex smiled, relief washing over him. "Your knowledge, my adaptability. Together, we made sense of it. I guess teamwork really does work across species." Lyra laughed softly. "Not just teamwork, Alex. Trust, courage, the ability to care about something beyond ourselves. That's what this device responds to, just like you cared for me all those years ago." Alex looked at her, the memory of that day flooding back with new clarity. "And that care hasn't changed. Seeing you here now, it feels like fate brought us together again, to finish what we started all those years ago." Lyra nodded. "And to understand something far bigger than ourselves." As the sun began to dip lower, casting long shadows across the canyon, Lyra and Alex stood together at the center of the dome. The crystal energy pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat, and they both felt the unspoken connection between them, a bond forged in the past, strengthened in the present, and now guiding them toward the unknown challenges that lay ahead. The secrets of the Crystal Canyon were slowly revealing themselves, and Lyra knew that this was only the beginning. Together, she and Alex would uncover the history of an ancient civilization, the true purpose of the device, and perhaps even the deeper meaning of the universe itself. And as they stood side by side, the glow of the crystals reflecting in their eyes, Lyra could no longer deny the truth. Her long-lost savior had returned, and their journey was just beginning. The glow of the Crystal Canyon faded slightly as Lyra and Alex returned to the small research outpost, perched on the edge of the plateau. The outpost, a blend of Zarathian architecture and human technology, hummed softly with life, its instruments constantly analyzing the energy patterns from the canyon. Lyra entered the main chamber, her fingers lightly brushing over the consoles as she reviewed the latest readings. "The energy signatures are more complex than I expected," she said, frowning. "They don't follow any natural pattern. It's as if the canyon itself is alive, aware of our actions." Alex leaned against a console, watching her work. "It's almost like it's testing us," he said. "Not just the environment, but us. Our decisions, our cooperation." Lyra nodded. "I think you're right. And the more I analyze it, the more I realize how connected it is to the memories encoded in the crystals. It responds to courage, empathy, and understanding, not force. Not control, just understanding." Alex considered this for a moment. "That explains why it reacted to us in the canyon. Our bond, our shared purpose, it acknowledged that." He paused, looking at her. "Lyra, do you trust me enough to continue this work together?" Lyra hesitated, memories of her childhood and the trauma of being saved rushing through her mind. But the certainty in Alex's eyes, the same determination that had saved her years ago, gave her courage. "Yes," she said firmly. "I trust you. And I think the canyon—" "It does too." Their work that night was quiet but intense. Lyra analyzed the crystal patterns while Alex tested sequences to harmonize the energy with the planet's natural frequencies. The canyon responded subtly at first, pulses of light shifting gently as if acknowledging their progress. Hours passed, and the duo grew more synchronized in their work. Lyra would adjust the crystal's alignment, and Alex would suggest patterns that matched human logic. Their combined efforts slowly stabilized the readings, though the device remained unpredictable. Then came the breakthrough. A sequence of energy waves emanated from the crystal dome, forming shapes that resembled memories, flashes of scenes that neither of them had witnessed before. Lyra gasped. These are not our memories, she whispered. They belong to the civilization that created this place. Look, courage, cooperation, acts of selflessness. They valued these qualities above all else. Alex studied the flashes. It's like they left a test for anyone who comes here. And we're part of it. Our actions are choices. They're being recorded. Lyra nodded slowly. And it's teaching us, guiding us. We have to understand it fully if we're going to stabilize the canyon. Alex leaned closer, his eyes scanning the projections. Then we need to push further. Analyze the device, understand its purpose, and see how we fit into this puzzle. For the next several hours, they worked tirelessly. Lyra's knowledge of alien energy systems allowed her to interpret subtle signals, while Alex's human problem-solving skills provided innovative ways to test the device safely. Together, they created a pattern of interaction, a sequence of movements, energy alignments, and emotional intent that seemed to resonate with the canyon. At one point, the energy pulses grew unstable, vibrating violently through the outpost. Lyra's heart raced and she grabbed Alex's arm for balance. It's reacting to something. Or someone. We need to be careful. Alex nodded, steadying himself. Stay focused. Remember what it responds to. Empathy, courage, understanding. That's our key. As they continued, the projections began to show something extraordinary. A scene from Lyra's childhood, but this time with clarity she had never seen. The accident, the explosion, the moment she fell, and then a human hand reaching out to save her. Alex's face appeared in the memory, just as it had been then, young and determined. Lyra's voice trembled. It's showing us our connection. The bond that started all those years ago. You saved me, and now we're here together. Alex felt a lump in his throat. I remember that day, but I never imagined it would lead to this. You've grown into someone remarkable, Lyra. I'm proud of you. The energy pulses from the dome seemed to respond to their emotions, stabilizing further as if acknowledging their understanding. Lyra realized that the device was not just a machine. It was a recorder of life, capturing the essence of those who approached it and amplifying the qualities it valued most. We have to continue, Lyra said, determination in her voice. The canyon is guiding us, showing us what we need to do. We can stabilize it if we understand its purpose fully. Alex nodded. Then let's finish what we started. They returned to the canyon at first light, moving with purpose and caution. The crystal formations shimmered as they approached, casting long, glowing shadows across the rocky terrain. The core of the dome pulsed with increasing intensity. As if aware of their arrival, Lyra and Alex began to interact with the energy waves, carefully adjusting the crystal alignments and synchronizing their actions with the natural rhythms of the canyon. Each movement, each decision resonated with the device, and the energy pulses gradually smoothed, forming patterns that reflected balance and harmony. At one point, the canyon seemed to push back, sending a surge of energy toward them. Lyra instinctively reached for Alex, and they both focused on remaining calm and synchronized. The surge passed harmlessly, dissipating into the ground as the device recognized their intent. It responds to us, Lyra said, her voice filled with awe. Not with anger or force, but with understanding. It's testing our ability to remain steady under pressure. Alex smiled. Then we passed the test together. Hours later, as the suns began to set, the canyon finally settled into a steady rhythm. The crystal formations glowed brightly, harmonizing with the energy waves, and the dome's pulse became calm and controlled. Lyra and Alex stood side by side, breathing deeply, a sense of accomplishment and wonder filling them. Lyra turned to Alex. We did it. We've stabilized the canyon, at least for now. Alex nodded, a faint smile on his face. But there's still more to learn. This device, these crystals, they're only a part of a bigger story, and I have a feeling we're just beginning to understand it. Lyra glanced at him, the weight of her memories and the present moment blending together. It's incredible to think that this all started because you saved me. That single act led to this, to understanding something far beyond ourselves. Alex's eyes softened. And it shows that even small acts of courage and kindness can have far-reaching effects. You've proven that every step we take matters, Lyra. Every choice, every decision shapes the world around us. The two stood in silence for a moment, gazing at the glowing crystals. The canyon was calm now, but Lyra knew that the device had more lessons to teach. Its purpose was not fully revealed, and the energy anomalies could still change unpredictably. Yet for the first time she felt a deep sense of trust in the device, in the canyon, and in the human who had saved her all those years ago. We need to study it further, Lyra said finally, to understand its full purpose. And we need to do it together, Alex nodded. I wouldn't have it any other way. We're stronger together, human and Zerathian, past and present, and I think the canyon knows that too. As night fell over Zerathia, the stars reflecting in the crystal formations, Lyra and Alex returned to the outpost. Their work had revealed part of the canyon's secrets, but the journey was far from over. The device, the ancient civilization, and the bond between them held mysteries yet to be uncovered. And as they prepared for the next day, Lyra realized something profound. Courage, trust, and understanding were not just abstract concepts. They were the keys to unlocking the universe's secrets. And together, they had already proven that humanity and alien life could achieve extraordinary things. The challenge of understanding had tested them, but it had also strengthened their bond. Lyra knew that the canyon was not just a place of danger or mystery. It was a place of growth, learning, and connection, and with Alex by her side, she felt ready for whatever the universe had in store next. The morning sun bathed the crystal canyon in soft golden light, casting long shadows that shifted across the jagged formations. Lyra and Alex stood at the edge of the plateau, staring at the glowing dome at the canyon's center. Overnight, the energy readings had become stronger, more active, and the crystal patterns now pulsed rhythmically as if calling to them. This is it, Lyra whispered, a mix of excitement and apprehension in her voice. The device, it's awakening. Alex nodded, his eyes scanning the formations. I've never seen anything like it. It's not just energy. It's responding to us, to our thoughts, our intentions. We need to approach carefully. Lyra adjusted her visor and started analyzing the core from a safe distance. It's more intelligent than I expected. Not sentient like us, but aware. It seems to communicate through energy patterns, almost like a language we can feel rather than hear. Alex studied the patterns, tracing the lines with his fingers as if touching them could reveal their secrets. Then we'll have to learn its language. And fast. Together, they began moving toward the device. Each step they took caused the energy to pulse in response, forming patterns that shimmered across the crystal walls. Lyra could feel a resonance in her chest, a vibration that matched her heartbeat. The device seemed to sense not just their presence, but their emotions. Alex, it's reacting to us, not just our actions, Lyra said. It's trying to understand our intentions. He glanced at her. Then we have to make sure our intentions are clear. Cooperation, trust, courage. Anything else might confuse it. As they entered the inner chamber, the energy surged stronger. The light from the dome intensified, casting intricate reflections across the walls and floor. Lyra's visor showed fluctuations in the energy patterns, some stabilizing while others pulsed unpredictably. We need to synchronize our movements, Lyra said. The device responds to rhythm and balance. If we act together, it will listen. Alex nodded, and they began a careful sequence of adjustments. Lyra manipulating the crystals while Alex harmonized the energy with human technology. The dome pulsed in response, waves of light spreading across the chamber. For a moment, it felt as if the entire canyon was alive, watching, evaluating. Suddenly, the energy shifted violently. The ground beneath them vibrated, sending small crystals skittering across the floor. Lyra grabbed Alex's arm instinctively. It's testing us. Stay focused. Alex took a deep breath and mirrored her movements exactly. Step by step, hand by hand, they adjusted to the energy patterns, demonstrating patience, cooperation, and understanding. Slowly, the surges calmed, the pulsing light settling into a steady rhythm. Lyra exhaled. It's responding to our harmony. not just individually but together. That's how we can unlock it fully. They continued working, their synchronization growing stronger with each adjustment. The device began projecting more intricate energy patterns, forming shapes and sequences that seemed to represent challenges, both physical and intellectual. Some pulses created barriers in the crystal formations, others formed complex puzzles in light and sound. "This is incredible," Alex said, his eyes wide. "It's testing not just our abilities, but how we think and work together. Every challenge seems designed to measure courage, empathy, and creativity." Lyra nodded. "Exactly, and I think it's preparing us for the final stage, whatever that might be." Hours passed, and the duo grew more confident. Each challenge became easier to interpret, and the device responded more positively. They learned to anticipate its movements, adjust their actions, and synchronize their energies. The canyon's glowing walls reflected the harmony between human and Zarathian, creating a dazzling display of light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Finally, they reached the core of the dome. The energy here was intense, almost overwhelming, yet not dangerous. Lyra placed her hand on the smooth surface of the crystal, and the dome pulsed in recognition. Alex followed, placing his hand beside hers. "It knows us," Lyra whispered. "It understands that we're working together, that we mean no harm." The device responded with a surge of light, projecting vivid images across the walls of the chamber. Lyra saw moments from her past: the accident, the rescue, her growth into a scientist, while Alex saw glimpses of his own journey, his courage, and choices that had defined him. "It's showing us our own lives," Lyra said softly. "Not to remind us, but to teach us, to show us what matters: courage, selflessness, cooperation." Alex nodded, awe in his eyes. "It's like a mirror of our hearts and minds. And it's giving us the chance to prove ourselves." The energy pulses grew more intense, converging toward the center of the dome. Lyra and Alex felt a vibration in their bones, a connection to the crystal and the planet itself. The device seemed to respond to their emotions, amplifying their courage and focus. "It wants us to act as one," Lyra said. "Not just with our hands, but with our minds and hearts. We have to synchronize completely." They closed their eyes briefly, centering themselves. Lyra focused on the lessons the device had been teaching: trust, empathy, courage, while Alex concentrated on the sequence they had discovered through observation and experimentation. Slowly they moved together, adjusting the crystal formations, harmonizing the energy, and projecting their intentions clearly. The device responded immediately. Light surged outward, forming intricate patterns that danced across the walls. The pulse of the dome became steady and strong, resonating in perfect rhythm with Lyra and Alex's combined energy. "It's working," Lyra exclaimed. "We're in harmony with it." Alex grinned. "We did it. Together." But the device was not done. The energy intensified further, sending waves outward across the canyon. Lyra realized that it was not just stabilizing the immediate area, but influencing the entire environment. Crystals throughout the canyon began to glow brighter. Energy flows harmonized, and the floating cities above shimmered in response. "It's amplifying balance across the planet," Lyra said in awe. "We're not just interacting with the device, and we're helping restore harmony to Zarathia itself." Alex looked at her, admiration and respect in his eyes. "And it all started with trust and courage. Your courage, Lyra, and my willingness to act. That bond from long ago. It brought us here." Lyra smiled, remembering the day Alex had saved her as a child. "It's amazing to think that a single act of kindness can ripple across time and space. And now here we are, completing the circle." The energy pulse from the dome reached a climax, then gradually subsided. The crystal formations glowed steadily, the environment harmonized, and a sense of calm settled over the canyon. Lyra and Alex stood side by side, hands still touching the smooth surface of the dome, feeling the quiet resonance of achievement. "It's awake," Lyra said softly. "Fully, and it's stable." Alex nodded. "We've passed its test. And in the process, we've learned more than I ever imagined. About courage, about trust, about the impact we can have on each other and the universe. Lyra turned to him, her eyes reflecting the glow of the crystals. This journey, it's changed us, not just in understanding the device, but in understanding ourselves and each other. Alex smiled, a mixture of warmth and pride in his expression. And it all began with a single act, the one that saved you. That bond, that connection, it's stronger than anything I could have imagined. The canyon settled into peaceful rhythm, the crystals glowing softly in the fading light. Lyra and Alex stood together, reflecting on the journey, the lessons, and the bond that had grown stronger with every challenge. They had faced the awakening of the device and emerged not only victorious, but transformed. And as the twin suns dipped, below the horizon, casting the canyon in a gentle glow, Lyra knew that the adventure was far from over. The device had awakened, but its full purpose, the secrets of the ancient civilization and the mysteries of the universe, still awaited. With Alex by her side, she felt ready for whatever came next. The device had tested them. The canyon had guided them. And now they were prepared to face the next chapter, together, as partners, friends, and explorers united by courage, trust, and the unbreakable bond forged through time. The device had awakened, and so had a new understanding. The universe rewarded those who acted with courage, empathy, and cooperation. And Lyra and Alex were ready to discover what lay beyond. The crystal canyon glowed softly in the early light, its energy now steady and harmonious. Lyra and Alex stood at the center of the dome, their hands resting lightly on the smooth surface of the main crystal. The device, once unpredictable and reactive, now pulsed gently, a rhythmic heartbeat that seemed to reflect the balance of the canyon itself. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the calm resonance in her chest. "It's stable," she said softly. "The energy flows are aligned, the anomalies are gone. The canyon is at peace." Alex nodded, his eyes scanning the surrounding formations. "We did it. And we didn't just stabilize the device, we restored balance to the canyon, to the planet itself." "That's incredible." Lyra smiled, thinking back to the journey that had brought them here. The memory of her childhood accident, of Alex's hand reaching out to save her, no longer felt like a distant, fragile thread. It had grown into something strong and enduring, a bond that had guided them through challenges, discoveries, and the awakening of the ancient device. "I never imagined this," Lyra said, her voice quiet but full of awe, "that a single act of kindness so long ago could lead to this, to understanding something far bigger than ourselves." Alex glanced at her, admiration shining in his eyes. "And it's proof that every choice matters. Every act of courage, every moment of empathy. They ripple across time. We've seen it firsthand." For a while they stood in silence, listening to the gentle hum of the canyon. The energy patterns of the crystals flowed in perfect harmony, spreading a sense of calm throughout the surrounding area. Lyra's visor showed stable readings, confirming that the device's influence extended beyond the immediate chamber, bringing balance to the canyon and even affecting the floating cities above. "This is only the beginning," Lyra said. "The device is awake, but its full purpose. I think there's more for us to learn. We've only scratched the surface of what the ancient civilization left behind." Alex smiled. "Then we continue, together." Lyra nodded, a feeling of warmth and certainty spreading through her. "Yes, together. And this time we understand each other fully, not just as partners in exploration, but as people who've shared something extraordinary." They began walking toward the edge of the canyon, where the light from the twin suns reflected across the crystalline formations. The energy pulses followed them, gentle and steady, almost like the canyon itself was accompanying them, guiding their steps. As they moved, Lyra noticed small details she hadn't seen before, hidden chambers within the crystals, faint inscriptions that shimmered when touched, and energy flows that seemed to connect the entire canyon in a vast, invisible network. She reached out to one of the crystals, and it responded immediately, projecting images of the ancient civilization, towering structures, beings of light and energy, and scenes of cooperation and learning. They valued knowledge, courage, and selflessness, Lyra said, tracing the energy patterns with her fingers. "Everything we've experienced here, it reflects their principles, They created this place to teach, to guide, and to inspire those who could understand. Alex studied the projections, and now it's teaching us too. Not just about their civilization, but about ourselves, about what we're capable of when we act together. Lyra turned to him, eyes bright with excitement. And I think it's showing us that humanity has a role in this galaxy far beyond exploration. Our actions, courage, empathy, understanding, can create ripples that change worlds. Alex nodded. It's the essence of humans for the better. Our ability to act selflessly, to think creatively, to connect with others. It's what makes us powerful in ways that go beyond technology or strength. The thought brought a smile to Lyra's face. And that's why the bond between us, between human and alien, past and present, has mattered so much. It's what allowed us to unlock the device, to stabilize the canyon, and to discover its purpose. They paused at a vantage point overlooking the entire canyon. The crystals shimmered, rivers of energy flowing through the formations in perfect rhythm. Above them, the floating cities reflected the harmony below, the light scattering across the sky in a dazzling display. Alex took a deep breath. It's beautiful, and it feels alive, almost like the canyon is celebrating with us. Lyra smiled, looking at him. It is alive, Alex. Not in the way we are, but in a way that matters. It responds to courage, to trust, to understanding. It's a living lesson from a civilization long gone, and now we've become part of it. As they watched, the device sent a final surge of energy across the canyon. It was a gentle pulse, more like a sigh of relief than a force of power. Lyra felt it resonate deep within her chest, and she realized something profound. The device had recognized their bond, their courage, and their empathy. It had accepted them, and in doing so, it had unlocked a new beginning. We've done more than just stabilize it, Lyra said softly. We've become part of its story, and in doing so, we've discovered a part of ourselves we didn't fully understand before. Alex reached out and took her hand, squeezing it gently. And that's the best part. We've learned, we've grown, and we've done it together. The future, whatever it holds, we face it as partners. Lyra nodded, a sense of calm and certainty washing over her. Yes, together. And this is only the start. As the day progressed, they began documenting their findings, carefully recording the energy patterns, the projections, and the lessons of the ancient civilization. Lyra explained her insights about the canyon's energy network, while Alex devised ways to safely integrate human technology with the device's systems. Their work was meticulous, but it was also rewarding, a tangible record of the journey they had shared. When night fell, the canyon glowed softly under the starlit sky. Lyra and Alex stood together at the edge of the dome, looking out over the shimmering formations. The energy pulses continued, calm and steady, reflecting the harmony they had created. It's amazing, Alex said. All of this. The device, the canyon, the energy, and to think it all began with a single act of courage. Lyra smiled, the memory of her long-lost savior clear in her mind. And that act led to this. To understanding, to discovery, to friendship, and to trust. It's proof that even small actions can shape the universe in ways we can't imagine. Alex looked at her, admiration and respect shining in his eyes. And it's proof that we can face any challenge together. Human or alien, past or present, we can make a difference. That's what matters most. Lyra nodded. Exactly. And now we can continue exploring, together. There's so much more to discover, not just here, but across the stars. He smiled, a sense of excitement and purpose in his expression. Then let's do it. Wherever the universe leads us, we face it side by side. They stood together in silence for a moment, feeling the calm energy of the canyon surround them. The device had awakened. The mysteries of the canyon were revealed, and the bond between human and alien, past and present, had grown stronger than ever. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling a sense of peace and determination. This is a new beginning, not just for us, but for Zarathia, for humanity, and for anyone who seeks to understand the universe with courage and empathy. Alex squeezed her hand gently, and we'll face it all together. Always. The twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the crystal formations. The canyon glowed softly, alive with a harmonious rhythm that reflected the courage, understanding, and cooperation of those who had faced it. Lyra and Alex looked at one another, a silent promise passing between them, a promise of adventure, friendship, and discovery. And as they turned toward the path leading back to the research outpost, the canyon seemed to pulse in quiet approval, a reminder that the universe rewards those who act with courage, empathy, and trust. Lyra smiled, glancing at Alex. We've come so far, and yet I feel like this is just the beginning. Alex nodded, a sense of hope and purpose in his eyes. It is, and no matter what comes next, we face it together. That's the true strength, the human spirit, the bond we share, and the courage to explore beyond what we know. The canyon stretched before them, a glowing testament to the power of cooperation, courage, and understanding. And Lyra knew without a doubt that with Alex by her side, they were ready to meet the future, whatever it held, with open hearts and unbreakable determination. The universe awaited, full of mystery and wonder. And together, Lyra and Alex would face it, guided by the courage of the past, the knowledge of the present, and the promise of a new beginning.